I spent a lot of time on this channel talking about growth and becoming, but you can't talk about becoming who you want to be without talking about who you used to be and the mistakes that version of you made. So I'm 49, and when I look back at the last 30 years, I see a lot of quote unquote bad trades. I see years I spent trading my daylight for things that in the end didn't matter. I'm sharing these mistakes today not because I want to dwell on the past, but because I know some of you are making these exact same trades right now. And I'm here to tell you, you do not have to keep making them. You can stop that trade today. I think the biggest mistake I ever made was believing in that myth of the right time. I spent my 30s and early 40s waiting for this season where life would be quote unquote calm enough for me to pursue what I actually cared about. I'm not talking about my family situation or my personal marriage or the growth of my children. I have no regrets for any of those things. What I mainly am focusing on is the fact that we trade our daylight for these jobs, for these faceless corporations, to give us just enough money to keep us buying the things that we think will make us happy. I told myself I'll start that project when the kids are older. I'll focus on my health when this big project at work is finished. I'll speak my truth when I have more financial security. I was waiting for that green light that was never going to come, just sitting there at the red light the whole time. What I didn't realize, and what I think so many of us don't realize, is that the right time is just a sophisticated form of procrastination. It's a way to feel productive while staying safe, quote unquote. I've traded decades of daylight to quote unquote perfect conditions that never existed. If you're waiting for the stars to align before you make your move, you aren't waiting for a sign. You're just hiding from the work. The second mistake was staying in rooms I had outgrown because I was afraid of the cold. I spent many years in a 9 to 5 culture and in social circles where I knew I didn't really belong. I knew the conversations were shallow. I knew the work didn't speak to my soul. But it was sort of comfortable. The paycheck was steady. Everybody knew my name, and I was liked around the office. I was so afraid of being the new guy again or being that beginner at 40 that I stayed a quote unquote successful version of someone I didn't even like. I traded my authenticity for approval, and I let that desk define me because it was easier than defining myself. If you feel like you're wearing a mask every time you walk into your office or sit down at your dinner table, you're making a bad trade. You are spending your life buying a version of comfort that is slowly killing you. The third mistake, and maybe the most painful one, was neglecting my internal world. I focused so much on the external markers of success. I chased the title. I looked for that stability. I wanted to look like the guy who had it all figured out. But while I was building that external facade, my internal life was becoming a desert. I stopped reading. I stopped creating altogether. I stopped being still enough to hear what I actually needed. I thought that if I just worked harder, the emptiness would go away. But you can't work your way out of a soul-crushing problem. I traded my mental and emotional health for quote-unquote progress that felt hollow once I reached it. I realized too late that having it all, which I never really did have it all, means nothing if you aren't actually there to experience it. So why am I telling you this? Because at 49, I've decided to stop the bleeding. I'm done with the bad trades. I'm making mistakes now, too. Starting this channel and putting myself out there like this is a risk, and it might not work. But it's a different kind of mistake. It's an active one. I'd rather fail at being myself than succeed at being the version of me that everyone else expects. If you're listening to this and you realize you've been making bad trades, waiting too long, staying too long, neglecting yourself, I want you to know it isn't too late to renegotiate. You still have daylight left. You still have time to trade your hours for something that makes you feel alive. I'm still becoming. I'm still correcting my course every single day. And I know you are too. Thank you for being part of this journey. This video was a hard one to record, but I think it's the most important one yet. Let me know in the comments, what's one bad trade you've made that you're ready to walk away from? I'm still becoming, and I'll see you in the next one.